Hey guys, it's Laurence here, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can take your agency to 50k per month. If you're below 50k, this video is going to really help you understand the exact steps that you need to take in order to get to 50k. And if you are doing 50k or close to 50k or above 50k, these steps are still going to help you achieve that next goal as well. So without further ado, let's jump into my computer and I'm going to walk you through step by step the same process that I follow to take my agency to 50k a month and beyond, so you can ultimately do the same. The first thing we need to do is to figure out the what. So what do we need to do in order to achieve our goals? If we want to get to 50k, how many clients do we need? So that's the first thing we need to understand, is how many clients do we need? Let's say, for example, you charge, for ease of maths, 5k per month, then you're going to need 10 clients, obviously. If you are, for example, charging 500, then you're going to need 100 clients. And what you need to figure out is whether or not your existing vehicle, i.e. business, and your business is made up of the type of clients that you serve, the fees that you charge, that is your business and your business is your vehicle. Is your vehicle good enough or sufficient to take you to your end destination, i.e. your goal? Because if it's not, then you need to change your vehicle basically. Think, for example, if you want to go from the UK to New Zealand, UK is where you're at right now, New Zealand's where you want to get to, it's on the other side of the world, then if that's your goal and your vehicle is a crappy old car that's going to break down every 10 miles, then it's probably not the right vehicle to get in. You want to get in a plane. And the same is true with your business and your goals. Your goals are just an end destination, and it's important that you are in the right vehicle to achieve that. So sometimes in order to get to where we want to get to, we need to slightly change the direction that we're heading in order to be able to progress further in our journey. So make sure that when it comes to the type of clients that you're working with, the pricing structure, that it's actually attainable to achieve your goals based off your clients and your fees. So let's say, for example, I'll keep this example because it's really easy to understand. Let's say we need 10 clients to hit our 50k. We now need to know how many calls taken do we need. So we're going from a big kind of abstract number like 50k and we're breaking it down. So we know that if we have let's say a 25% close rate on calls, then we're going to need 40 calls taken. So a lot of people say, I'll close way higher than 25%. You get me in front of somebody, I'll close them. We hear that all the time with the prospects that we speak to. I close at 90%. I'm not saying that they're lying. That is true when you're speaking to referrals, to people through your network, people that already know you, like you, and trust you. But when you want to achieve bigger goals, you need to start casting a wider net in terms of your marketing. So you need to speak to people that don't know you, don't trust you, and probably don't like you at this stage. And therefore, your close rate on sales calls is going to drop, which is absolutely fine. It's nature of the beast. So don't think that you're going to be able to close and do all of this maths along with me, and because you should be doing it with me. Don't think that you're going to be able to close at a 90% close rate just because you currently are, because you're not going to be able to, because we're going to have to look for people outside of your network in order to sign more clients so you can hit your goals. We now know that we need to get 40 calls taken in order to sign 10 clients. But there's a couple of things that we need to take into consideration. We need to take into consideration, are they qualified? And we also need to take into consideration show rate. So we might need 50 qualified calls, or 50, basically, I think we'd probably need, in order to get 40 calls taken, we probably need 60 calls total. And the reason being is that maybe 80% of them will be qualified, 20% won't, and 80% will show up, 20% won't. So 60 calls is going to take you down to that sweet number of 40 sales calls. Most agencies would break very, very quickly if they got 10 clients in a month. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out how long do we want that journey to be in order to get to our goal. So if we say that the goal is to get 10 clients, which is going to get us to that 50k a month mark, then maybe we want to do it over 3 months. Let's say we want to do it over 3 months. What I would do is I would say, instead of saying we want 20 calls per month, I would be a little bit optimistic, and I would say, in order to give yourself a buffer, we're going to want 30 calls a month. So 30 calls a month will get us over 3 months will get us those 40 qualified calls that show up, which will get us those 10 clients, which will get us to the 50K a month. This is the process that you need to go through in order to understand what is required for you to achieve 50K per month. So maybe you want to, maybe you only charge 2.5K per month to your clients. Therefore, you're going to need 20 clients and you're going to need 80 calls. Maybe you don't feel confident at closing at 25%. Maybe you think that you can close at 20% or 15% or 30%. So you need to play around with these numbers and make them your own based off your goals. But that is the what side of things. Once we've got the what and we now know what we need to do, and let's say in this scenario, so the what equals 30 calls a month for 3 months, and that will get you to your goal. And there's going to be a bit of a buffer in there. So if a few things go wrong, we should still achieve that 50K goal. So that is the what, 30 calls a month for 3 months. Now we need to focus on the hard part, which is the how. So we've got the what, we know what we need to do. So now we need to think, right, how do we get 30 calls a month on the calendar in order to achieve it? There's a few ways that we can do it. We can do organic, which equals things like posting on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, and all of these things are great, but they are a long-term play. And so if you want to hit 50K at some point kind of in the next 12 months, then this probably isn't going to be the right option for you. Now, I don't think that just because it's not going to get you to your goal tomorrow doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So I think all of this stuff is very valid and you should be doing it thinking about your future self, because your future self will help you if you do start this process now, because it is a long-term process. Another one is paid ads. So again, things like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of these things. Paid ads can be great, but the one thing you need to be cautious of is making sure that you don't spend money trying to figure out your offer, try and figure out your messaging. If you have grown primarily through referrals, through your network, through word of mouth, do not run paid ads to begin with, because you do not know the messaging that works for a cold audience, basically. And if you take the same messaging that works on referrals and warm leads, people that know you, like you, trust you, and you send it out to people that don't know you, don't like you, don't trust you, I guarantee you it will not work. You need to figure out your messaging first. So although this is great once you've got your messaging figured out, it's not the place to start, basically. And it is also a very expensive place. You don't want to be doing this if you're under 50K a month. Paid ads is a great place to scale. And I always say that paid ads is like pouring fuel onto a fire, and it only works if there is a fire. If you pour gasoline onto the floor when there's no fire emerges. But if there's already a flame, if there's embers, if there's a little fire and you pour gasoline on, it's going to turn into a roaring flame. And that is what paid ads is. Most people just start throwing money at paid ads, hoping it's going to solve their problems, and it very rarely does. So the next option is outreach. And there's a couple of ways that we can do outreach. We can do LinkedIn, for example. We can do email. There's loads that we can do, and I'll just compare these two. So the thing with LinkedIn is it is very restricted in terms of volume. Now, again, just like organic, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do LinkedIn, but it does mean that if you do want to hit 50K a month relatively soon and get 30 calls on your calendar in the next kind of 30 days, LinkedIn is not going to be able to get you there. I don't know off the top of my head what the volume of email or volume of messages that you can send each day or connections that you can make, but it is low and it is getting lower and lower. So LinkedIn is probably not the right place to put all of your eggs into. Don't put all your eggs into that basket, basically. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but if you do LinkedIn and you do organic, over time that is going to compound and it's going to really pay dividends, but it's not going to get you to where you want to get to very quickly. So I would recommend that you do organic, you do LinkedIn outreach, but remember that it is not going to solve your initial problem of getting to 50K, say next month. So that leaves us with email. And the reason I love email is because it's very easy to test things. It's very quick. Its volume is pretty much unrestricted, and it allows you to achieve your goals very, very quickly. For example, we can send out high volume, really, really high volume. We can test very quickly. So if we've been getting our clients through referrals, through word of mouth, and we're not entirely sure how to turn a cold audience into paying clients, then cold email is going to be really good. Because think about it, you can send out one email with like message A, another email with message B, another email with message C, and another email with message D, and really quickly find out that maybe A and B didn't work very well, C worked really well, and D didn't. So we now know, maybe just after a couple of weeks and zero ad spend, we know that the message C is the one that we can kind of move forward with. That's the one that that your market is actually most interested in. It's really quick, really easy to do. So not only can you get volume nailed down, you can test really quickly, and it's very cost effective. So you can download maybe 10,000 leads for $100. You can purchase domains and a domain and 2 email addresses for $28 a year. You can contact tens of thousands of people every single month for very little money. And it is by far the most effective way to grow an agency. And I say that speaking from experience. I've done LinkedIn, I've done paid ads, I'm doing YouTube, I do cold email. The vast majority of clients that we sign come through cold email. And it's because it works really, really well. In terms of what, 30 calls a month, how, I believe that there's a few things that you should be doing longer term, like organic, maybe some LinkedIn, but there's only really one thing that is going to get you to your goals in a very cost effective and low risk way, and that is emails. There is a way that you could get there, which is paid ads, but it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take too much money, in my opinion, and most people, they start to spend money on ads thinking it's going to work, and there's a big learning curve. And most people's budgets run out, or their bottle runs out before that learning curve is over. So they actually just waste an awful lot of money and don't really gain any traction. Email for me is the answer to the what and the how. We know the what is 30 calls a month. The how is email. And now we need to know the how, we'll call it. So the how is like, okay, we now know that cold email is the best way to go about it, but how do we do it? I'd be thinking, how can I do something that if I'm extremely unlucky, if everything doesn't work, I still get the result that I get? So I'm pretty much guaranteed to get the result that I want to get. Well, it all comes down to your appointment booking rate. That's the main thing. And this is basically how many leads did we contact? Not how many emails did we send, but how many leads did we contact and how many calls got booked as a percentage. Typically, we want to aim for like a 0.5 to a 1% appointment booking rate. But let's say, for example, we want to be really pessimistic. So maybe we're going to say that our appointment booking rate is going to be 0.25%. So that means that we need to contact 400 leads in order to get one call. Now, I think it would be a lot lower than that, but let's just say that we're trying to make achieving our goals a complete inevitability. So we want 30 calls, so we're going to times that by 400. So we need to contact 12,000 leads in order to get 30 calls. So now we know, we've taken this really abstract number of I want to get to 50K a month. We've broken it down into the number of clients. We've broken it down into the number of calls, the number of qualified calls, the number of shown calls. And then we've given ourselves a bit of a buffer. And we know that cold email's the most effective way to get there. We know that if we're unlucky, we'll have a 0.25% appointment booking rate, which means we need to contact 400 leads in order to get one call booked. We want 30 calls. Therefore, we need 12,000 leads contacted every single month. Now what we know is, and I can tell you this from experience, that one email address that we send from can contact 100 leads per week and 400 per month. So if we've got 12,000 leads and we divide that by 400, we know that we need 30 email addresses, and we know that we can have 2 email addresses per domain. So we need 15 domains. So now we know exactly what we need each month. We need to purchase 15 domains. We need 30 email addresses. We need to download 12,000 leads. We probably actually need to download more like 16,000 leads, because by the time that you clean them, verify them, remove any duplicates and bounced emails, you're probably going to be left with 12,000 after you download about 16,000. You're going to need to contact 12,000. You'll need 30 email addresses to do that and 15 domains. If I was wanting to start my business and go from 0 to 50K per month, this is exactly how I would do it. I would get some organic content out there. I would do email outreach. I would look at this and I would think, right, in order to get 30 calls, I'm going to contact 12,000 people through 30 email addresses and 15 domains. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we get to 50K a month in our agency. That's how we do it. And if you want help doing it, if you want us to take literally everything that we've just walked through, all of this that we've just walked through, and for me and my team to come into your business and actually build all of this out for you and manage it on your behalf on a pay on results basis, then all you need to do is click the button inside the description, the first link in the description. It will take you to a calendar where you can book in a call and speak with me directly, and I'll explain exactly how we can help. I promise on this call, I won't have such a croaky throat, but yeah, we'll explain exactly how everything works, what's involved, the process, and I'll explain how our pay on results process works as well. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.